From staying out of the octagon for years to coming back and facing one of the best fighters in the division. After 2 years away, Conor McGregor is making his comeback against Michael Chandler, and here's how he's planning to beat him.
Conor McGregor, you gotta come back and fight somebody. You and me at 170. Holler at your boy. I'll see you at the top.
The Notorious says he's dynamic and ready. This is gonna be Conor's comeback fight, and fans can't wait to see how it'll go. He hasn't said much about the fight publicly though. All we have are a few retweets and interesting picture captions. Eventually, McGregor broke his silence. In an exclusive interview with Mirror Fighting, Conor talked about his upcoming showdown, just hours before he boarded a flight to Las Vegas to film his reality show, The Ultimate Fighter. He spoke to the outlet outside his Dublin bar, the Black Forge Inn. He was hanging out there with Eddie Hearn, a boxing promoter. So, what did Conor have to say?
Can we get your first comment on Michael Chandler as the comeback opponent?
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Feel good, feel energetic, feel ready. You know, I'm throwing up my high kicks faster than I'm throwing out my jab. So I'm very excited to get back, alright?
And when do you get to Vegas?
Tomorrow.
Well, he's actually really looking forward to the fight. The former two-weight world champion is terrific, energized, and prepared. He even said that he'll be launching higher high kicks than jabs, and is simply impatient to return. This seems to be his main strategy for beating Iron Mike, but Michael had a lot more to say about the fight than Conor. He said that he was planning to intimidate Conor from the very beginning, and make him back off from the get-go. Chandler added that he'll probably finish Conor in the second round. I guess only time can tell, but fans are dying to know, when is the fight taking place? UFC President Dana White announced the huge fight. Sadly, it seems like he forgot to mention a date or time. Still, the promo video had the entire combat sports world electrified. The expected date for McGregor versus Chandler is during the earliest part of the fourth quarter of 2023. If you're dying to see more of them though, you won't have to wait for too long. The upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter will begin filming soon. It'll feature bantamweights and lightweights, and will have the two fighters as coaches. Now, the story behind why this fight is taking place is very interesting. Michael Chandler challenged Conor McGregor.
You gotta beat somebody, so beat me if you can. God bless. See you at the top.
The coaching gig at The Ultimate Fighter was what ultimately helped put it all together. After his win this past spring in Phoenix, Chandler had a lot to say. The fighter said that if Hunter Campbell and Dana White have a temporary lapse in their judgment and give the title shot to someone else, Michael's got someone on his mind, and that person is, of course, Conor McGregor. Michael challenged him to come back and fight somebody. He even called himself the most entertaining lightweight on the planet. Chandler dared Conor to come at his best and baddest, and he didn't care whether it was summer, fall, or winter, as long as the fight would take place. Well, it seems like Chandler's wish has come true. After coaching against each other on The Ultimate Fighter, the two will be fighting. Now, I know you have a lot of questions about the fight. Mark Raimondi from ESPN is breaking it down. So, let's have a look. Why this fight, and why now? Well, why now is an easy question to answer. It's Conor freaking McGregor. Of course, the UFC would want such a big name back in the octagon as soon as possible. He's just come out of the US anti-doping agency drug testing pool, so he needs to be back in it for 6 months before he competes again. Now, McGregor made a really smart move by deciding to film during this time. The UFC has him to boost their TUF ratings and promote the fight, all without Conor even needing to place a foot inside the octagon. It all just makes sense. Now, this is also a fight that all three parties involved want. Chandler obviously wants it. He's the one who proposed it in the first place, but Conor's team is looking forward to it too. This is exactly the kind of return McGregor was looking for. Plus, Michael's an exciting and suitable candidate. He's only ever lost to the top lightweight fighters. Now, if Conor wins it all, he could be looking at yet another title fight. And this wouldn't be the case if he'd fought and beat someone like Tony Ferguson. But still, how do the two fighters match up? In simple words, it's gonna be a pretty epic battle. Now, Chandler's an awesome wrestler. You just need to look at his fights in the UFC. He can keep the fight standing and trade with basically anyone. He's one of the Fight of the Year candidates, along with Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. Plus, he won Knockout of the Year in 2022 against Ferguson. Mike has been bringing his all every time he steps into the octagon, and every time he has, it's been against some pretty elite competition. I mean, he was literally 1 or 2 punches away from beating out Charles Oliveira in the first round for the lightweight championship in 2021. Still, it seems like McGregor's betting on his flawless striking to take out Chandler early on, but there was once a time when Chandler's chin was seen as sus. He's taken a beating from some of the hardest hitters in the UFC, but are any of them a match for Conor? Yes, because Chandler's really refined his kicking under Coach Henry Hooft at Kill Cliff FC. And we know that McGregor's coming back from a broken leg. Whatever happens, it's bound to be a very interesting fight. Now, everyone's wondering who's gonna win, but what's at stake for the winner? No one would have believed that Chandler versus McGregor would ever happen. First of all, Michael lost the Bellator lightweight title to Patricio Freire in 2019.
Michael Chandler, Mike, let's talk about the shot that puts you down and what you remember as far as the sequence.
Yeah, no, it was overhand right. I saw it, I remember it. This is the sport that we chose though, man. I've had fights like this where I've won and people thought it was fast.
He came back with a knockout over Sydney Outlaw in Japan. But if you offered this fight to any UFC fan, they would have called you a casual. Still, things have changed in a big way. Mike worked hard and knocked out former UFC lightweight champion Benson Henderson. He's been a very talented addition to the UFC. The man has professionalism, class, and complete mastery over his self-promo. What else could you want? He's put on some very entertaining fights and basically done everything the UFC asked of him. Whatever the outcome is, the fight is a massive win for Chandler. Now, if Michael wins, he's gonna be one of the biggest stars in the division. He might even be looking at a title shot. But if McGregor wins, it'll be his biggest victory since knocking out Eddie Alvarez in 2016 for the lightweight title. It's gonna be a huge boost for his career. Not only will he have successfully made a comeback from a crippling injury, he'll also be beating a top-tier fighter. It would mean that he's back in a big way, and that's always good news for the UFC. Now, fans still think that Conor will beat out Michael with no problem. Let's see why. Well, the Notorious has a very diverse skill set. I mean, he's built a whole career off his insane punching power. Remember his fight with Jose Aldo? It lasted a grand total of 13 seconds. It's the fastest finish in UFC title fight history. Even Dustin Poirier, who's won twice against him, has said that Conor is the hardest hitter he's ever had to face. Plus, fans think Conor's takedown defense is very underrated. Chandler may well be planning to use a wrestling-intensive game plan, but don't be too surprised if Mystic Mac isn't easy to take down. Just remember how he defended himself against Khabib Nurmagomedov's wrestling takedown. Then there's the fact that Conor's striking style is a good match for Chandler's. He catches his opponents when they're least expecting it. Now, all this talk about the upcoming fight has me even more excited for this epic battle. And with that, that is how Conor McGregor plans to beat Iron Mike. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.